For the first time in a little while, Manchester United are heading into the Premier League weekend off the back of a really positive win against Chelsea. After the week we had post-Newcastle, honestly, it could have gone the other direction. All the stories about a broken dressing room and this and that, they were put to bed with that performance against Chelsea. But in football, you need to be consistent with the results. Bournemouth, yeah, they may have only had 16 points across the course of the season, but they've got 10 of those points in the last 4 games, 3 wins and a draw. It won't be as easy as it might look on paper. What I'm going to do in this video is run through my starting 11 prediction for the Bournemouth game and how I think this game's going to play out. I'm going to run through Ten Hag's press conference, what he said, and I'm going to give my prediction. You can let me know yours in the comments as you always do. And if you can, just take 1 second. Please drop a like on the video. It does make a big, big difference. But let's go through the press conference quotes and the standout things that Ten Hag has had to say. He was speaking about Maguire and McTominay. And look, the form of Maguire and McTominay this season has been one of the pleasant surprises, I suppose. Maguire, Premier League Player of the Month. Ten Hag, Manager of the Month. Garnacho, Goal of the Month. Not bad for a club in crisis. That's what I would say. Ten Hag was speaking about, well, a player the complete opposite in terms of form. Rashford's bang out of form. I'd be surprised if he started this game. I'll be totally honest. He's still convinced he'll get there. Well, Rashford, it's up to Rashford, really. He's the man who's going to change all this and turn this form around. In terms of sort of picking the team against Bournemouth and thinking about Bayern coming up and Liverpool coming up after that, you can't really look too far ahead in the Premier League anymore, is basically what Ten Hag is saying. And I don't think you can. So I'll be very surprised if there are that many changes from that team there, which is the incorrect team, that did not play against Chelsea because it wasn't Mainu who played there and it was Scott McTominay. I'd be surprised if there are that many changes, but I'm going to run through what I think about the team. Now, what I want to show here quickly, as I said, is for a club in crisis, it's not looking too bad. Yeah, mate, we've not been that good this season, but for us to come away with Manager of the Month, Player of the Month, and Goal of the Month, that's not bad. Let's run through the team, though, okay? Because, look, if we take a look at the table first, right? Bournemouth are down there in 15th. You even see them here, just right at the bottom. 15th on what? 16 points. Man United have got 27 points. We're 3 points behind City. Honestly, it makes you laugh hearing that. But it's completely true. And what we saw against Chelsea was an actual United. That team there played like a collective unit. It was a game where everybody pretty much, to a man, put in like a 6 out of 10 or above. And for that reason, I don't think that Ten Hag is going to change too much in this starting 11. And Ten Hag has kind of shown that across his time at Manchester United. Sometimes to a fault. Sometimes it's kind of overworking players. But Ten Hag last season, when he got that trusted team, he didn't really rotate that much. And right now, probably it's either Maguire and McTominay as to who his most trusted player is on form and the player that he can feel like he can completely rely on. Bruno too. But the form of Maguire and McTominay is ridiculous. Maguire absolutely stays in at centre-back. That's why Varane's not playing, man. People can get angry about it, but that's why Varane plays. Now, the one change I do want to make at the back is the change that we saw at halftime against Chelsea. And I want to see Sergio Reguilon come in for Manchester United, playing at left-back, and Luke Shaw tucking in as left centre-back. I think this has to happen, right? It allowed us to play with a slightly higher line. Reguilon, I mean, pretty much all season long, all of his cameos have been pretty damn impressive. He clearly loves playing for United, and he's also quite a decent player, which is nice. Because Weghorst loved playing for United, but couldn't hit a barn door. Reguilon's decent. Gives us better shape overall on that left-hand side. Allows Luke Shaw to be that left centre-back. And it's the closest we've got to Lisandro Martinez without it being Lisandro Martinez. And he's been such a big miss for us that I think the more Luke Shaw plays in that position, the better it will be for the overall build-up and shape of our team. Reguilon. And I think Dalot absolutely keeps his spot. I was right to predict that he was going to come in. And he put in a damn good performance, I think, at right back. So I think he will stay there. Now, in midfield, there could be changes, right? But it was really nice to see Amrabat. When it came to that second half performance, right? What you kind of saw was this. Man United really aggressive. As we always are, Man United really kind of Bruno operating in that position there, McTominay operating there, and Amrabat, say the ball was up here, off the ball, was kind of tasked with covering defensive line was a little bit higher. I moved them up now. But Amrabat was kind of tasked with covering that. Maguire was kind of stepping up to there. Luke Shaw was stepping in and kind of operating as an extra central midfielder. Reguilon and Dalot there. We compacted the pitch. We made it smaller. But Amrabat, and I'm trying to highlight with that random shape, was covering a heck of a lot of ground on his own. He did it very well. Now, that same risk-reward mentality will probably get more exposed against... Well, won't probably. It will get more exposed against the likes of Liverpool, who will find those spaces in behind and will punish you for it. But Amrabat's timing, 11 ball recoveries, 3 out of 3 tackles, duels, he was a big reason why we were able to play the way we did in that second half against Chelsea, right? I actually want to see United operate probably a rest defensive line around about there. That feels about right. That feels about right, yeah. Something like that. Yeah, about there. I think that's probably a better shape overall. I want us to not be operating in this area on the rest defense, all right? That needs to be moved further up. And the same thing goes for Onana. I kind of want him to operate on the edge of the box there. That's what I'd like to see against Bournemouth. And Amrabat, for me, he keeps his place in that team. Now, I know a lot of people are going to want to see Kobbie Mainoo come in. And he may well do, right? But you have to remember that Kobbie Mainoo is an 18-year-old who's just his breakthrough season, and he's just come off the back of his first ever major injury as a player, and he's 3 months without kicking a ball. Well, 2-3 months. Been brilliant. He could well come in. He could well start against Bayern Munich. Sod knows. But Erik ten Hag has got a little bit of an option there because of how impressive Amrabat was in that second half. It'll be interesting to see whether it changes if Bournemouth play a slightly deeper line, less space in behind, whether it becomes more difficult for us to break them down. And that, I suppose, we won't see until the game starts. But 2 midfielders who I just think, like, you can't not start McTominay now. I still think it's a problem to the overall balance of this football team. I don't know how you play McTominay and Bruno together and measure an element of control against top teams. No offense to Bournemouth, I think we should be able to navigate that problem against Bournemouth. However, you might have said the same thing against Wolves. And remember the first game of the season? Where they're just chasing all the space behind. It didn't work. Amrabat was the difference maker against Chelsea in that second half. You might say that McTominay... I know that McTominay was a difference maker. He's got the 2 goals, right? But Amrabat was the enabler. Without him covering all that space behind, we would have just got hit on the counter. Left, right and centre. And we kind of did in the first half. I wasn't saying it was a flawless performance, but I think Bruno keeps his spot, and I think McTominay does as well. Now, one player who, man, you'd be surprised if Rashford started this game. Actually, no, you wouldn't be surprised. I'd be flabbergasted. There is no way that Rashford can start this game ahead of this lad. No way. It's just not possible. So therefore, the question is, does Marcus Rashford come in as centre forward for Højlund, which is what he did for the last few minutes, or does Højlund start? You let me know in the comments below, right? Because Højlund needs to go in the Premier League, Rashford needs to go in the Premier League. Him scoring against Everton didn't really change that much. Bang out of form, bang out of confidence. I don't think you take Antony out of the team, and I don't think you take Garnacho out of the team. So the only choice that Ten Hag really has is do you keep starting Højlund, and I think we're a better team with Højlund in than we are with Rashford, or do you start Rashford there? Of course, Ten Hag's got to think about game time and measuring and all that jazz. We've got Bayern on Tuesday. It's basically a dead rubber, but it isn't quite a dead rubber, so we can't just play a completely changed 11. Just in case Galatasaray and Copenhagen draw. Can you imagine that? They draw and then we put out like a second string 11. Nah, man. Ten Hag's not going to take that risk. I personally would start Højlund and bring Rashford on and maybe bring Højlund off after, I don't know, 30 minutes or so. But I would definitely start Højlund in this game. So that would be my team. The only change that I've made from the team that faced Chelsea midweek is switching to how we played in the second half. Reguilon in at left back with Shaw in at left centre back. And the rest I'm keeping the same. And I want the performance to be the same. And that's why Ten Hag has always spoken about he likes having like the same back four. He likes having the same midfield because it builds patterns. And that's how you build game in, game out, repetitive patterns of play, which we just haven't had this season. Now, my prediction for this game is it's an optimistic 3-1. Now is when United have finally got to start building on games. We've had a few times this season that's been like the false dawns. But it can't really be after Chelsea. I mean, it can be. Absolutely can be. I'm just hoping it won't be. And if it isn't, and we kind of see the same level of performance, I think Bournemouth will be difficult, far more difficult to break down. Chelsea was so open. But beat Bournemouth, do it convincingly, and go into that Bayern game, and then we're just going to have to pray for a miracle, and then pray for another miracle away at Liverpool. But 3-1's my guess. That's my team. The only change, Shaw coming in left centre-back, and Reguilon going to left-back. 3-1. What's yours? Let me know in the comments below. We better win.